some tea?
China or Indian?
China.
Good. I never touch Indian. It upsets my vibration.
Do sit down.
I find this room very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
I'm not at all surprised.
Have you ever been to Camden Manor?
No, I'm afraid I haven't.
That's very interesting too. Strikes you like a blow between the eyes the moment you walk in the drawing room. 2 lumps of sugar, please, and no milk at all.
Of course. I'm profoundly disturbed, Madame Arcati, and I want your help.
I thought as much. Oh, what's in those sandwiches?
Oh, cucumber. Would you like me to get them for you?
Certainly. Couldn't be better.
Here you go.
Thank you. Now then, fire away.
It's so difficult to explain.
Facts first, explanations after.
Well, it's the facts that are difficult to explain. They're so fantastic.
Facts very often are. Take creative talent, for instance. How do you account for that? Look at Shakespeare and Michelangelo. Try to account for Mozart snatching sounds out of the air and putting them down on paper when he was practically a baby. Facts. Clear facts. I know it's the fashion nowadays to ascribe it to glands, but bottom line to that is fiddle-dee-dee.
Yes, I'm sure you're quite right.
There are more things in heaven and earth than are dreamt of in your philosophy, Mrs. Connery.
There certainly are.
Now then, take the plunge. Out with it. You heard strange noises in the night, no doubt. Boards creaking, doors slamming, subdued moaning in the passages. Is that it?
No, I'm afraid it isn't.
No sudden gust of cold wind, I mean.
Oh, no, it's worse than that.
I'm no attention.
I know it sounds idiotic, but the other night, during the seance, something happened.
I knew it! Probably a poltergeist. They're enormously cunning, you know. They can sometimes like go-go for days.
You know, my husband was married before.
Yes, I have heard it mentioned.
His first wife, Elvira, died comparatively young.
Where?
In this house, actually, in this very room.
I'm beginning to see daylight!
She was convalescing one evening after pneumonia and began laughing helplessly at one of those BBC musical programs. She died suddenly and tragically of a heart attack.
And she materialized the other evening after I had gone?
And not to me, but to my husband.
Capital! Capital! Oh, but that's splendid!
I can see from your professional standpoint it might be regarded as a major achievement.
A triumph, my dear! Nothing more nor less than a triumph!
Out of my own personal point of view, it is, to say the least of it, embarrassing.
At last, a genuine materialization! I have had a success like this since the Sudbury case!
Please sit down again, Madame Arcati.
Sit down? How could anyone sit down at a moment such as this? It's tremendous!
Nevertheless, I must insist upon you sitting down immediately, controlling your natural exuberance. I appreciate fully your pride in your achievement. However, I should like to point out to you, it has made my position in this house completely untenable, and I hold you entirely responsible.
Forgive me, Mrs. Condamine. I'm being abominably selfish. How can I help?
How? By getting rid of her as soon as possible, of course.
That's easier said than done, I'm afraid.
Do you mean to tell me she is liable to stay here indefinitely?
It's difficult to say. It depends largely on her.
My dear Madame Arcati.
Where is she now?
My husband's driving her to Folkestone. Apparently she was anxious to see a friend of hers who's staying at the Grand.
Forgive this formality, but I shall have to make a report with the psychical research people.
Oh, I would be very much obliged if there were no names mentioned.
The report will be confidential.
Good. This is a small village, you know, and gossip would be most undesirable.
I quite understand. You say she is visible only to your husband?
Yes.
Visible only to husband. Audible to, I presume?
Extremely audible.
Extremely audible. Your husband was devoted to her?
I believe so.
Husband devoted?
It was apparently a reasonably happy marriage.
Oh,
I beg your pardon?
when did she pass over?
7 years ago.
Ah, then she must have been on the waiting list.
A waiting list?
Yes, she must have marked herself down for a return visit. Otherwise, she would have gotten past the materialization stage by now. And she wouldn't have been able to manage it unless there was a strong influence at work.
Do you mean that Charles, my husband, really wanted her back all that badly?
Possibly, or it could have been of her own determination.
That sounds much more likely.
Would you say she was a woman of strong character?
I don't know, Madame Arcati. I never met her, nor am I in the slightest bit interested as to how or why she got here. I am solely concerned with how to get rid of her again as soon as possible.
I sympathize with you completely, Mrs. Condamine, and I would do anything in my power to help you. But I fear at the moment I cannot offer great hopes.
But I always understood there was a way of exercising ghosts, a sort of ritual, perhaps?
You mean the old bell and book method?
Yes, I suppose so.
Pooh! I believe the decline of faith in the spirit world has been causing grave concern.
Be that as it may, Madame Alcati, I must ask you to do your best to dematerialize my husband's first wife as soon as possible.
The time has come for me to confess to you, Mrs. Contamine, that, frankly, I haven't the least idea how to set about it.
This is outrageous. I have to hand you over to the police.
You go too far, Mrs. Contamine.
I go too far indeed. Do you realize what your insane amateur muddling has done?
I have been a professional since I was a child. Amateur is a word I cannot tolerate.
It seems to me to be the height of amateurishness to evoke malignant spirits and not get rid of them again.
I was in a trance. Anything might happen when I'm in a trance.
Well, all I can suggest is that you go into another one immediately and get this damned woman out of my house.
I cannot go into trances at a moment's notice. They require days of preparation. In addition to it, I have to watch my diet carefully beforehand. For instance, today, I happened to lunch with some friends and had pigeon pie. That, in addition to these sandwiches, would make a trance out of the question.
Well, you have to do something.
I will report the whole matter to the Society for Psychical Research at the earliest possible moment.
Will they be able to do anything?
I doubt it. They'd send an investigation committee and do a lot of question asking and wall tapping and mumbo jumbo, and you'd probably have to head up to London to testify.
This is humiliating, really it is.
Try not to upset yourself. Nothing can be achieved by upsetting yourself.
It's all fine for you to talk like this, Madame Alcati. You don't seem to have the faintest realization of my position.
Try to look on the bright side.
Oh, bright side indeed. Do you suppose you'd be able to look on the bright side if your husband's first wife magically appeared from the grave to live with you in your own house?
I resent your tone, Mrs. Contamine. I really do.
You absolutely have no right to.
Might I kindly remind you that I came here the other night on your own invitation.
On my husband's invitation.
I did what I was requested to do, which was to give a seance and establish contact with the other side. I had no idea there were any ulterior motives mixed up with it.
Ulterior motive?
Yes, your husband was obviously eager to get in touch with his former wife. Had I known that, I would have naturally consulted you beforehand. After all, noblesse oblige.
Charles had no intention of getting in touch with anybody on the other side. He merely wanted to make some notes of a few tricks of the trade for a mysterious story he's writing about a homicidal medium.
I am to understand that I was only invited here in a spirit of mockery?
No. Like I said, just a few notes of the tricks of the trade.
Tricks of the trade? Insufferable! I've never been so insulted in my life. I fear we have nothing more to discuss, Mrs. Contamine. Goodbye.
Please, don't go, please.
Your attitude from the outset has been most unpleasant, Mrs. Contamine. Some of your remarks have been discourteous in the extreme. And I should like to say, without umbrage, that you and your husband were foolish enough to tamper with the unseen for paltry motives and in a spirit of ribaldry. Then whatever has happened to you is your own fault. And to toilet rain, stew in your own juice!
Damn.
What on earth was Madame Alcati doing here?
She came to tea.
Did you invite her to?
Of course I did.
You didn't tell me you were going to.
You never told me you were going to invite Elvira to live with us.
I didn't.
Of course you did, darling. It was your subconscious.
Anyway, what was the old spirit was so angry about? She nearly cut me dead out
I
there.
told her the truth about why we invited her here the other evening.
That was quite unnecessary and most unkind.
She needed taking down a bit. She was blowing herself out like a pouter pigeon.
And why did you invite her to tea?
To get me exercise, of course. Oh dear, I wish I could have a sandwich. I did love them so.
Is that true, Ruth?
Is what true?
What's Elvira said?
You know perfectly well I can't hear what Elvira says.
She says that you got Madame Alcati here to get her exercise.
We discussed the possibilities.
There's a snake in the grass for you.
You had no right to do such a thing without consulting me
At
first.
every rate, this whole situation's impossible and you know it.
If only you put in a little bit more effort, you, I, and Elvira might have quite a jolly time.
I have no wish to have a jolly time with Elvira.
She's certainly very bad-tempered, isn't she? I can't think why you married her.
She's naturally a bit upset. We must make allowances.
I was never bad-tempered, though, was I, darling? Not even when you were beastly to me.
I was never beastly to you.
Where's Elvira at the moment?
She's in the armchair.
Now look here, Elvira. I shall have to call you Elvira, shan't I? I couldn't go around saying Mrs. Contamine all the time. It would be too silly.
I don't see what.
Did she say anything?
She said she'd like nothing better.
You really are too sweet, Charles, darling. I worship you.
I would like to be absolutely honest with you, Elvira.
Hold on to your hats, boys.
I admit, I did ask Madame Alcati here today with a view to get you exercise, but I'm sure if you were in my position, you'd have done the same thing, wouldn't you?
I shouldn't have
done it so obviously.
What did she say?
Nothing. She just smiled and nodded.
Thank you, Elvira. That's really quite generous of you. I would so much rather there were no misunderstandings between us.
That is very sensible, Ruth. I agree entirely.
However, Elvira, I'd like to ask you a frank question before we go any further. Why did you really come here? I mean, I can't see you could have achieved anything by it beyond the immediate result, rather, of making Charles into a sort of astral bigamist.
I came because the power of Charles's love tugged and tugged and tugged at me. Didn't it, my sweet?
What did she say?
She said she came here to see me again.
Well, she's already done that, hasn't she?
Ruth, we can't be inhospitable.
I have no wish to be inhospitable. I just like an idea of how long Elvira intends to stay.
I don't know. I really don't know. Isn't it awful?
She said she doesn't know.
Surely that's a little inconsiderate.
Ruth.
Now look here, Charles, I'm not going to stand this any longer. I really just... I can't.
She's off again.
Ruth, dear, please don't be upset. I know it seems like quite a difficult situation now. But, who knows? This is very unique, and we might have a great deal of fun with it.
Why, Charles, uncanny, you must be out of your mind.
I thought I was at first, but I must admit I'm beginning to enjoy myself.
Charles, how can you? Oh, I'm to be miserable from this whole situation.
Ruth. What's the matter?
It's terrible. It really is. I can't just have Elvira floating around the house like this. It's driving me insane.
Ruth, my dear, please don't be upset. Don't break out again.
I resent that air of patronage, Charles. I have been making polite conversation all through dinner last night and breakfast and lunch this morning, but I'm not going to do it anymore. The strain is too much. I don't like Elvira anymore, and she likes me, and what's more, I'm not sure I could have, dead or alive. If, since our untimely arrival here the other evening, she had shown the slightest sign of manners, or the slightest sign of breeding, I might have felt differently towards her, but all she has done is try and make mischief between us and have private jokes with you against me. I'm going up to my room, and I shall have my dinner on the tray. You and she can have a house to yourselves to joke and gossip with each other to your heart's content. The first thing in the morning, I'm going up to the Psychical Research Society in London to interview with them, and if they fail me, I'll go straight to the Archbishop of Canterbury.
Let it go. She'll calm down later on.
I don't know what's the matter with her. She's generally so equable.
No, she's not. Not really. Her mouth gives her away. It's a hard mouth, Charles.
It is a fine mouth, and I resent you talking about my wife as if she were a horse.
Do you love her?
Of course I do.
As much as you loved me?
Don't be silly, it's an entirely different thing.
I'm so glad. Nothing could ever be quite the same, could it?
You know, you always behave so very badly.
Oh, Charles.
I'm grieved to see that 7 years and echoing vaults of eternity haven't improved you in the least.
Go on, darling. I love when you pretend to be cross with me.
No, I'm going to talk to Ruth.
Cowardly custard.
Don't be idiotic. We must show a little bit of sympathy. We can't let her run off like that.
I don't see why. If she's set on being disagreeable, I should just let her get on with it.
You must give her a chance.
She should learn to be more adaptable.
And she will in time. It's been a shock.
Has it been a shock for you too, darling?
Of course, what do you expect?
A nice shock.
What do you want, Elvira?
What? I don't know what you mean.
I remember that whenever you were positively demure, it's when you wanted something.
How dare you be so suspicious? All I want is to be with you.
Well, you are now.
I mean alone, darling. If you go up and you palm her Ruth and smarm her over, she'll come flouncing down again and our lovely quiet evening together will be spoilt.
You are incorrigibly selfish.
Well, I haven't seen you for 7 years. It's only natural that I should want a bit of time alone with you to talk over old times.
Look, I'm going up to talk to Ruth. You can stay here and read the Tag or something.
You won't be long, will you? You'll come down again right away.
I'm going to talk to her, and then I expect I shall have to get dressed for dinner.
Darling, you don't have to dress for me.
I always dress for dinner.
What are you going to have? I should like to watch you eat something really delicious.
Look, be a good girl now. You can play the gramophone if you like. I'm going upstairs.
Thank you, Charles.
I'll be loving you always with a love that's true, always. When the things you've planned need
see any signs of clearing?
No, it's still pouring.
I do sympathise with you, really I do. It really has been quite a chapter of accidents, hasn't it?
It certainly has.
That happens sometimes, you know. Everything seems to go wrong at once, exactly as though there were some evil forces at work. I remember once when George and I went away on a fortnight holiday. We were dogged by bad luck from beginning to end. The weather was vile, George sprained his ankle. I caught a cold and had to stay in bed for 2 days. And to crown everything off, the lamp in the sitting room fell over and set fire to the treatise George had written on hyperplasia of the abdominal glands.
How dreadful.
He had to write it all over again. Every single word.
Would you like a cocktail or some sherry or anything?
Yes, that'd be grand.
I think I'll have some as well. I feel I need it.
Don't worry about your husband's arm, Mrs. Condamine. I'm sure it's only a sprain.
It's not his arm I'm worried about.
I'm sure Edith will be up and about in a few days.
Our cook gave notice this morning.
Well, really, servants are awful, aren't they? Not a shred of gratitude, and at the first line of trouble, they run after you like bats leaving a sinking ship.
I'm not sure your simile was all that fortunate, Mrs. Bradman.
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. Really, I didn't.
Nothing to worry about, Mrs. Condamine. It's only a slight strain.
I'm so relieved.
We made a good deal of fuss when I examined it. Men are such worse patients than women, you know. Especially high-strung men like your husband.
Is he highly strung, do you think?
Yes, as a matter of fact, I've been wanting to talk to you about that. I'm afraid he's been overworking lately.
Overworking?
He's in a rather nervous condition. Nothing serious, you understand.
Oh, I see. What makes you think so?
Oh, I know the symptoms. Of course, the shock of his fall might have something to do with it, but I certainly think that he should get away for a few weeks.
Get away? What do you mean?
I think that in cases like these, a rest and change can work wonders.
Oh, good. What symptoms did you notice?
Nothing to be unduly alarmed about, just a certain air of strain and inability to focus his eyes on the person he's talking to, a few marked irrelevancies in the conversation.
Can you give any specific examples?
Well, he suddenly shouted, "What are you doing in the bathroom?" And later, while I was writing his prescription, he said, "For God's sake, behave yourself."
Oh, he often goes on like that, particularly when he's immersed in writing a book.
I'm not in the least perturbed about it, but I do think that a rest and change would be a good idea.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Would you like a cocktail?
That would be grand, thank you.
It is funny, isn't it, that both your housemaid and your husband should fall down on the same level.
I suppose if that sort of thing amuses you, then
Of
yes.
course I didn't mean it like that, Mrs. Condamine.
Once again, Violet, you're talking too much.
You are horrid, George.
Well, how does it feel? All right. It's only a slight sprain, you know.
Is this damn sling really essential?
It's a wise precaution. It'll keep you from using your left hand unless it's absolutely necessary.
I had intended to drive in the Folkestone this evening.
It would be better if you didn't.
This is a great convenience, Doctor.
Really, Charles, you could go another night, can't you?
I can't stand another of those dreary evenings at home, and I haven't seen a movie for 7 years.
Well, let me be the first to congratulate you.
What's that, old man?
Charles, dear, please try to be sensible. I implore you.
Sorry, I forgot.
You can drive, but only if you promise to go very slowly and carefully. Your gear change is on the right, isn't it?
Yes.
Still, try to use your left hand as little as possible.
All right.
Really, I think you should just stay at home.
Couldn't you drive him in?
I'm afraid I can't. There's much to be attended to in the house, and I have Edith to take care of.
Well, I'll leave you two to fight it out amongst yourselves, but if you do intend on going, remember, carefully does it. The roads are slippery this time of year. Come along, Violet.
Goodbye, Mr. Condamine.
Goodbye.
Good night.
Surely a way to go to Folkestone. Another night, Elvira. Oh, stop behaving like a schoolgirl. You're old enough to know better.
What?
I was talking to Elvira.
She's not here.
She was a moment ago. She threw a pillow at me.
She's been in a high mood lately. I know this mood of old, but she's up to something.
Are you sure she's not here?
Quite sure.
I really must talk to you.
Oh, what is it?
Please, it's important.
Look, Ruth, you've been acting well these last couple of days. Don't start making scenes again.
I resent that air of patronage, Charles. I have behaved well, as you call it, but just because there's been nothing else for me to do, I find it fair to offer you no guarantee for the future, as my patience is being stretched to its uttermost.
What are you talking about?
Elvira's purpose is quite clear, darling, and if you can't see it, you're a bigger fool than I thought you.
What purpose could she possibly have other than wanting to see me again?
She wants to kill you off, get you to herself forever.
Kill me off? Are you mad?
No, why do you suppose Edith fell down the stairs and nearly cracked her skull?
What has Edith got to do with anything?
The whole top stair was covered in axle grease. Cook discovered it afterwards.
You're making things up, Ruth.
I'm not, I swear I'm not. Why do you suppose when we were lobbing that dead branch off the pear tree that the ladder broke? It had nearly been sawn in two on both sides.
Yes, but why should she want to kill me? I mean, I understand I want to kill you, but why me?
If you were dead, it would be her final triumph over me. She'd have you to herself forever on her domed astral plane, and I'd be left high and dry. She's probably planning some sort of spiritual remarriage. I wouldn't put anything past her. Don't you see now?
All right, then what are we to do?
You're to behave perfectly ordinarily as though nothing had happened. I'm going to see Madame Arcanti. I don't care if she's cross with me. That old girl's got to help us. Even if she can't get rid of her completely, she must know some sort of technical method of rendering her harmless, can't she? She has to go into a trance, and she'll go into a trance, and I have to beat her into it. I'll be back in a half hour. Tell Elvira I've gone to see the vicar.
This is appalling.
I know, but never mind about that. Just remember, don't give yourself away by so much as the flick of an eyelid.
Look at what? I said it's a nice lookout today.
What's a nice lookout?
The weather, Elvira. The glass is going down, down, down. It's positively macabre.
I find it difficult to believe that at this particular moment you and Ruth can find nothing better to talk about than the weather.
I can't take this anymore. I really can't.
Has she broken out again?
She wants to know if she's broken out again.
How dare you say something like that, Elvira? I should learn you to think we had any secrets from you. Charles and I were not talking about the weather as you so very shrewdly suspected. So I will tell you exactly what we were talking about. I was trying to convince Charles not to go into Folkestone this evening, as it would be bad for us all and he can perfectly easily wait until tomorrow. However, since he is determined to put your wishes in front of mine at all costs, I have nothing further to say. I'm sure I hope you both enjoy yourselves.
Ruth.
Charles, have you been beastly to her again?
No, Ruth doesn't like being thwarted any more than you do.
She's a woman of sterling character. It's a pity she's so ungiving.
Look, I said it once and I'll say it again. Stop talking to me about Ruth like this. It makes me uncomfortable.
Fine, I won't mention her again. Are you ready?
For what?
To go into Folkestone, of course.
Let me get a glass of sherry first.
I don't believe you want to take me anymore.
Of course I want to take you. It's just it's a dreadful night out and I've hurt my arm. It might be better to go another day.
Oh, how familiar this is.
Familiar how?
All through our married life, I only had to mention something for you to immediately start hedging me off about it.
Look, dear, I'm not hedging you off.
All right. We'll spend another cozy, intimate evening at home with Ruth sewing away at that hideous table centre and snapping at us like a terrier.
Look, Ruth knows perfectly how well hideous that table centre is. It's a present for her mother.
You don't have to defend her taste to me, darling. It's thoroughly artsy-craftsy and you know it.
It's not artsy-craftsy.
She's absolutely ruined this room. Look at those curtains.
Lady McKinley sent those to us from Burma.
Obviously because they had been sent to her from Birmingham.
Elvira.
Come on, darling, let's go now.
Not until I've had my sherry.
Don't be elderly and grand with me, Charles. Come on, let's go.
No.
Fine.
Besides, it'll only be a few minutes longer, and the car will be back for half an hour anyway.
What do you mean?
Ruth's taking the car to see the vicar.
What? You say Ruth's taking the car?
Yes, to see the vicar. She'll be back in a few minutes.
Oh my god, oh my god. You have to stop her, you have to stop her now.
Why? What's going on?
Go on and stop her immediately.
I can't. She left a couple of minutes ago. What the hell's going on?
Oh no.
What have you done, Elvira?
Done. I haven't done anything.
Oh, you're lying.
I'm not lying. What is there to lie about?
Then why are you in such a damn state?
I'm not in a state. I don't know what you mean.
Elvira, what have you done?
I haven't done anything. Stop looking at me like that, Charles.
Oh my god, the car.
No, Charles, no.
Ruth said you'd do something.
No.
Ruth said you were trying to kill me.
No.
What have you done to the car? You have done something to the car, though, haven't you?
No, I haven't.
Elvira, what have you done?
No.
Hello? Speaking? Down by the river. The bridge. No, what? Please, no, I'll come by myself. No, there's no need. I'll come myself right now. Yes. Thank you. Damn!
Well, of all the filthy low-down tricks! Stop it, Ruth! Get it off of me! Stop it! Stop it! Go away! Go now!
all. Would you like a seat?
Thank you.
Is there anything you'd like to drink or eat?
No, thank you. I had to have Mr. Company.
Well, it was very kind.
No. Not kind at all. It was my duty. I know it strongly.
Duty?
I reproach myself bitterly, you know.
Miss McCarthy, there's no need for that.
I allowed myself to get into a huff the other day with your late wife. I rode all the way home in a grip of temper. I have regretted it ever since.
Please, Madame McCarthy.
But please allow me to go on. Mine is the shame. Mine is the blame. Had I not been so impetuous, had I listened to the cool voice of reason, so much might have been averted.
Look, you were perfectly honest. You told Ruth you could do nothing for her. And other than the original unfortunate mistake, I see no reason you should reproach yourself.
But I threw out the sponge! In a moment of crisis, I threw out the sponge instead of throwing down the gauntlet!
Whatever you threw, it won't matter. I fear the events have been stronger than any of us.
I cannot bring myself to admit defeat so easily. It is gall and wormwood to me. I could have at least concentrated, made effort.
Never mind.
I do mind. I cannot help it.
There.
I mind every fiber of my being.
Madame McCarthy, there's nothing to be done.
I have been thinking a lot over the past few days and reading up quite a bit as well. I gathered we are alone?
Yes, or at least I believe so. My first wife is lying down. Ruth's funeral exhausted her. But as for my second wife, I have no way of knowing.
You remarked no difference in the texture of your first wife since the accident?
No, not at all.
Well, that washes that out.
Washes what out?
Just a little theory I had. It was a pretty widespread belief in the 19th century that a ghost who had participated in the death of a human being disintegrated automatically.
Why do you believe Elvira had anything to do with Ruth's death?
Elvira. Such a pretty name, isn't it? There's a definite lilt to it, hasn't it? Elvira. Elvira.
Madame McCarthy, you have not answered my question.
It came to me last night, Mr. Condon. It came to me in a blinding flash. I had just finished up my Ovaltine and turned out the light when I suddenly started up in bed with a loud cry. Great Scott, I said, I've got it! And so I began to put two and two together. At 3 in the morning, with my brain fairly seething, I went to work on my crystal for a little. But it wasn't satisfactory, can't you know?
Look, I wish you'd keep any theories you have about my wife's death to yourself.
My one desire is to help you. I feel I've been dreadfully remiss over the whole affair. Not only remiss, untidy.
Once again, there's no need to feel like that. Nothing can be done.
But something can be done. Oh, here it is. I have found a formula. I copied it out of Edmondson's Witchcraft and its Bible.
What the hell are you talking about?
Pluck up your heart, Mr. Condomine. All is not lost.
What do you mean?
You are still anxious to dematerialize your first wife, I suppose?
Of course I am. I'm practically furious with her. But
But
it's been hard for her, you know. I mean, I'm angry at her, which she never liked, and Ruth has been bothering her ever since she came back.
your delicacy of feeling does you credit. But I must say, if you will forgive my bluntness, that you are a damned fool, Mr. Condomine.
You're at liberty to believe whatever you wish.
Now, don't get on your high horse. There's no sense in that, is there? I have a formula here which I believe will be able to dematerialize your first wife without hurting her feelings in the least. It's enormously simple and requires only complete concentration from you and a minor chance from me. I might even be able to manage it without lying down.
Honestly, I'd rather just... What is it?
Oh, what's she doing here?
She came to give her condolences.
They should have been congratulations.
Elvira, you are not to talk like that. Madame McCarthy, allow me to introduce you to my first wife, Elvira.
How do you do?
What is she doing here, Charles? Send her away.
I will not do any such thing.
In what part of the room is she at the moment?
She's wandering about rather erratically at the moment. I'll let you know when she settles.
She's the one who got me here in the first place, isn't she?
Yes.
Well, tell her to get me back again right away. I won't stand this out another minute.
Elvira.
I do. I want to go home.
Madame McCarthy.
Very interesting. I smell ectoplasm strawberry.
What a disgusting thing to say.
Where is she now?
She's here next to me.
Are you happy, my dear?
Tell us a little bit. She'll mind her own business.
Elvira.
Was the journey difficult? Are you weary?
She's dirty.
Look, Madame McCarthy.
Just a moment. I almost have contact. I can sense the vibration. Oh, this is magnificent.
Don't be spoiled. Look how much fun she's having. Give her some encouragement.
Only if you promise to get her into the other room. I've got to talk to you, Charles.
All right, go.
Yes, again.
How's that?
This is first rate. It really is first rate. Absolutely stunning.
Madame Arcati, would you consider it dreadfully rude if I asked you to go in the other room for just a moment? My first wife wishes to speak to me alone.
Oh, must I? It's so lovely being actually in the room with her.
Look, madame, it is only a minute and I promise she will be here when you get back.
Very well. Hand me my bag, will you? It's on the table.
Here you are.
Oh, you darling! You little darling!
How good is she really?
I don't know.
Do you think she could actually get me back again?
But, my dear child,
And don't call me your dear child. It's smug and supercilious.
there's no need to be rude.
This whole thing's been a failure. A miserable, dreary failure. Oh, what high hopes I started out with.
Don't expect any sympathy from me. I'm fully aware that your highest hope was to have me murdered.
Don't say it like that, Charles. It sounds so beastly.
That's because it is beastly. It's one of the beastliest things that I've ever heard.
There was a time when you would have welcomed the opportunity of being with me forever and ever.
Elvira,
Oh, Charles.
stop crying.
They're only ghost tears. They don't mean much, but they're very painful.
You brought all of this on yourself, you know.
That's right. Rub it in. I only did it because I loved you. The silliest thing I ever did in my life was to love you. You were always unworthy of me.
That remark comes perilously close to impertinence, dear.
I sat there on the other side, just longing for you day after day. I really did. All through your affair with that brassy-looking woman in the south of France, I went on loving you and thinking truly of you. And then you married Ruth, and even then I forgave you because I thought deep down that you actually loved me best. That's why I put myself down for a return visit and had to fill in all that paperwork and stand about and draft your passages for hours. Maybe if you died before you met Ruth, everything might have been okay. She's absolutely ruined you. I hadn't been in this house a day before I realized it. Your books aren't a quarter as good as they used to be either.
That is all entirely untrue. Ruth has encouraged me and helped me with my work, which is a damn sight more than you ever did.
Maybe that's what's wrong with it.
How could you? You were always so interested in going to parties and having fun.
Why shouldn't I have had fun? I died young, didn't I?
You needn't have died at all if you hadn't gone out on the river that night with Guy Henderson and gotten soaked to the skin.
So we're back at Guy Henderson, are we?
You behaved abominably over Guy Henderson, and don't you try to deny it.
Guy adored me, and anyhow, he was very attractive.
You told me he didn't attract you in the least.
Because you'd have gone through the roof if I had said that he did.
Elvira, you swore to me.
Oh, you were always making a scene out of nothing at all. I had to.
Oh, nothing at all.
You never loved me a bit, really. It was only your beastly vanity.
You think it was my vanity that upset me when you were out on that punt with Guy Henderson?
It was not a punt, it was a little launch.
I don't care if it was a three-masted schooner. You had no right to go.
You seem to forget why I went. You seem to forget that you had spent the whole evening making sheep eyes at that overblown heritage in the false
A
pearls.
woman in Cynthia Chauvois' position would hardly have had to wear false pearls.
They were practically all she was wearing.
I'm grieved to see your sojourn in the other world hasn't improved your native vulgarity. in
That was
least.
the remark of a pompous arse.
I'm sick of this discussion.
You always used to say that when you were thoroughly worsted.
You know what, Elvira? You were feckless and irresponsible and morally unstable, and I realized that ever since we left Budleigh Salterton.
Only a monumental bore would have thought of having a honeymoon at Budleigh Salterton.
What is wrong with Budleigh Salterton?
I was an eager young bride, Charles. I wanted music and glamour and romance. Instead, I got potted plants, 7 hours a day on a damp golf course, and a 3-piece orchestra playing Merry England.
Well, you should have told me all of that years ago.
I did, but you wouldn't listen to me. That's why I went out on the moors with Captain Bracegirdle that evening. I was desperate.
You told me you went to see your aunt in Exmouth.
It was the moors.
With Captain Bracegirdle.
With Captain Bracegirdle.
I should have known what a damn fool I was. Did he make love to you?
Of course.
Elvira!
Only very discreetly, you know. He wasn't the cavalry.
I'm sick of this. Go away. I'm done. I'm so glad to be rid of you.
Unfortunately, you're not with me.
Yes, I am. You're dead. Ruth's dead. I shall sell this house, lock, stock, and barrel, and go far away.
I shall follow you.
No, you shan't. I shall go to South America if I have to. You would love that, wouldn't you? You are such a good traveler.
That doesn't matter now. I shall have to follow you. You called me back.
I did not call you back.
Well, somebody did, and it's hardly likely to have been Ruth.
I can assure you nothing was further from my thoughts.
You were talking about me before dinner that evening.
I could have been talking about Joan of Arc. It doesn't mean I want her to come here and live with me.
As a matter of fact, she's rather fun.
Stick to the point.
When I think of what might have happened if I'd succeeded in getting you to the other side, it makes me shudder. It really does. It would have been nothing but bickering
Just go away.
There's nothing I would like better, darling. Call the old darling again and set her to work. I won't stand this house another minute.
Madame Arcati, would you come in here again?
Is the darling still here?
Yes.
Where? Tell me where.
She's blowing her nose by the coffee table.
Oh, my dear. Oh, my dear.
Stop her fawning over me, Charles, or I shall break something.
Madame Arcati, my wife and I have been discussing it, and she wishes to go home immediately.
Oh,
Wherever she came from.
you don't think she'd like to stay a few days longer
Look,
while I try to get things a little
Madame
organized?
Arcati, I'm afraid I must insist.
I could come and be with her. I could bring my crystal.
God forbid.
I'm afraid I must insist.
Well, if you do insist.
And I do. Do you have any suggestions?
I have a formula. It's nothing more than a little verse, really. I shall need some pepper and salt.
All right, I'll fetch them from the dining room.
We ought, of course, to have some shepherd's wort and a frog or two, but I think I can manage without. But you won't be frightened, dear, will you? It's absolutely painless.
Is this enough?
Oh, yes. I only need a little. Put it on the table, please, would you? Sprinkle it right in the middle. Just a soup. That's right.
She's an absolute fake. This is going to be a failure. I can tell you that here and now.
Vera, be quiet.
Now then, the gramophone. In the old days, of course, they used to use a zither or reed pipes. We'd better have the same record we had before, I should think.
I'll get it.
Whichever you think best, Madame Arcati.
Oh, if only that Mr. Exworth of the Psychical Research would see this! He'd have a pity one, really! Oh, don't start it yet, dear. Now then, let me see. I shall turn the lights out myself. Oh, shucks! I've nearly forgotten! One triangle, one half circle, and one little dot. There.
This is ridiculous. This is going to get us nowhere.
Anything is worth trying.
Believe me, I'm as eager for it to work as you are, darling, but this is going to be a dead failure. I can bet you 10 to 1.
Now, if your wife would be kind enough to lie down on the sofa.
Go, on there.
This is all very ridiculous. Don't blame me if I get the giggles.
Concentrate. You must think of nothing.
That's right. Quite right. Think of nothing. Hands at the sides, legs extended. Breathe steadily, my dear. 1, 2. 1, 2. 1, 2. Is she comfortable?
Are you comfortable?
No.
She's quite comfortable.
Oh, good. I will join you at the table in a moment, Mr. Condamine. I might have to go into a minor trance, but if I do, pay no attention. Now, first the music and away we go!
Be loving you always. With a love that's true always.
Ghostly spectre, ghoul or fiend, nevermore be thou convened. Shepherd's wort and holy rite, banish thee into the night!
What a disagreeable little verse.
Be quiet, Elvira.
Is there anyone there? Is there anyone there? 1 rap for yes, 2 raps for no. Now then, is there anyone there? Aha! Good stuff! Is that you, Daphne? I'm sorry to bother you, dear, but Mrs. Condamine wishes to return. Did you hear what I said? Can you help us? Oh, hold tight, Mr. Condamine! It's trying to break away!
Madame Arcati.
She's in one of her damned trances again, and I'm as here as much as I ever was.
How do we help her? What do we do?
Let her go. She's having a whale of a time. If I ever do get back, I'll strangle that bloody little Daphne.
What happened?
Nothing happened.
Something happened, all right. I could feel it.
You fell off the chair. That is all that happened.
Is she still here?
Yes.
Something must have gone wrong.
What are we to do?
Something happened, Mr. Conjurine. I could feel it in my trance. It shivered through me.
Once and for all, Charles, what the hell does this mean? This is quite definitely one of the most exhausting evenings I have ever spent.
It'll be daylight soon.
That clock has always irritated me. It strikes far too slowly.
It was a wedding present from Uncle Walter.
Who's Uncle Walter?
Elvira's.
Well, all I can say is he might have chosen something a bit more decorative.
If that were really all you could say, Ruth, we all might be a little more pleased.
You can be as rude as you like, Elvira. I don't mind a bit. As a matter of fact, I should be extremely surprised if you weren't.
Why?
The reply to that is really too obvious.
Would you two stop bickering for 1 minute?
This is one of the most frustrating evenings ever.
The reply to that is pretty obvious too.
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Skip it.
Now look here, Elvira, if we've got to stay together indefinitely in this house, and it looks unpleasantly likely, we'd better come to some sort of an arrangement.
What sort of an arrangement?
Wait. Neither of you are to stay together in this house.
Well, with you then, we shall have to be with you.
Why? Why can't you get a cottage somewhere, the both of you?
You called us back.
I did not call you back.
Madame Arcati said you did.
Madame Arcati's a muddling old fool.
I could have told you that in the first place.
Try shaking her, something. Wake her up.
It might upset her.
I don't care if it kills her.
Madame Arcati. Madame.
What time is it?
5:10.
Oh, what time did I go up?
Over an hour ago.
Curious. Very curious. Oh, excuse me for a moment. I must make a note of that for my diary. Are they still here?
Yes,
How disappointing.
I agree. Have you any suggestions?
Chin up. Never give in. Don't lose hope. That's my motto.
That schoolgirl phraseology is driving me mad.
Now then, what do you say we have another seance and really put our shoulders to the wheel?